The transfer portal is incredibly new, but it is already changing the face of college sports. Through December of 2022, there were already 1,300 FBS football players entered into the portal, and all signs point to that number growing as high as 3,000 athletes. If this continues, we will be living in a world where about 25% of all the FBS football players will be entering the portal, and that is on an annual basis. The portal has given unprecedented power to college football players to shape their futures, but that does not come without its own consequences. There is the good, the bad, and there's the ugly of the transfer portal. Because even though the portal is now an option, it doesn't mean that it is the best option for every college athlete. Starting off with the good, the portal has already accomplished its primary goal, and that was to increase athlete mobility. Up until 2018, athletes could not transfer without first sitting out a redshirt year. And the portal fixes that, but also allows athletes to enter their name into a database telling every other college coach they are available to transfer. That essentially starts the bidding war by reopening their recruitment. Any athlete at a big name program who is unhappy can basically secure playing time by entering the portal at a smaller name school. And athletes at smaller programs who have, for the most part, outplayed their scholarship can enter the portal and look for a better option elsewhere. If you throw in NIL opportunities, the portal represents a brand new landscape for college sports. And if we use football as any indication at the Division I level, it does appear that the days of a redshirt freshman working their way up to being a starter by the time they're a senior are almost entirely over. Because thanks to the portal, any athlete who really wants to can open up their own free agency. And that leads me into the bad of the portal. Because although it has increased an athlete's mobility, it has also decreased a coach's fidelity. Because college coaches are now aware that any high school recruit who they bring in can essentially choose to transfer whenever it suits them. And if that is in fact the case, they will have to now recruit with that in mind. They have to either prioritize athletes who they do not believe will be entering the portal to begin with, or simply switch over to recruiting directly from it. College coaches do not want to feel like they're constantly competing with themselves in order to keep an athlete happy. So recruiting directly from the portal is exactly what they're choosing to do. In Division I football and basketball, the portal has already evolved into an adapt or die situation, where the coaches who do not actively recruit the portal will be left in the dust when athletes who are on their team decide to trigger their own free agency. Coaches now have to run their programs with one eye on their current team and another eye watching the door to see if anyone is knocking on it who's worth letting in. This means that the logic behind recruiting is evolving, because when the portal opens, any program on the smaller side of Division I and beyond will immediately look to the portal to see if they can upgrade from their current players. It's a lot easier to simply sign a star player than it is to try to develop one out of a role player. Coaches now have to always consider that they might need to potentially upgrade from whoever is already on their team. And when the portal opens, if they do not get the next star player out of the transfer portal, it is likely that their rival school will do it instead. And now I have to dive in to the ugly side of the transfer portal. Because yes, college athletes now have more choice over how to control the futures of their careers than they've ever had. But when you increase the amount of choices someone can make, it also increases the likelihood that they will choose incorrectly. New NCAA legislation allows college programs to suspend giving out athletic scholarship for any athlete who chooses to enter the transfer portal. And this means that when you choose to enter that portal, there is a chance that the following semester your scholarship will be gone. This does make legitimate sense because when you quit on a program, they probably should not have to continue paying for you. But not all athletes who enter the portal will find a good landing spot, and some won't find any landing spot at all. Getting into college sports is like a nationwide game of musical chairs. In every division, every conference, and in every sport, there are a limited number of seats available. And if you choose to get out of the seat you are occupying to go play the musical chairs game, if you know anything about musical chairs, some people will not get one. So when you choose to enter the portal, it's like playing Russian roulette with your career, because although you might find a better seat to sit in, you might also find a worse seat. And like I said, you could be that athlete who is left standing up. The general reason why an athlete looks to transfer is because they are in some way unhappy with their current situation. But college coaches know that part, and they will have to take that into consideration whenever they recruit the portal. An athlete who didn't play, even if they're at a big name school, was not playing in all likelihood for a legitimate reason, and the coach will be trying to snuff that out before they decide to jump on that recruit. If you are a 4-star recruit who chooses to go to a Power 5 program and doesn't play much, and then enters the transfer portal, for the purpose of transferring, you are no longer a 4-star recruit. You are now a bench warmer on that Power Conference program, and coaches will evaluate you accordingly. It is still unlikely that you will be able to transfer from that situation and find a similar situation in the Power 5. And if you are in the low half of Division 1, or in Division 2 for that matter, and you choose to enter the portal, and the schools at your level aren't that interested in you as a transfer, the only place for you to fall is downward, and that might land you in Division 2 or even in Division 3. Many athletes who enter the portal will either be given bad advice or no advice at all. So this is my crack at it. The transfer portal is an option, one that athletes like myself never had access to. But it is not the only option. Choosing to enter the portal is just like placing a bet on yourself. And for all the football players who have already chosen to place their bet, I hope that you chose the right numbers and that you have the winning lottery ticket. But I would not place my money on that. The transfer portal might be an option, but it might also not be your best one. Choose wisely.